Today for 10-2 day 2, we are graphing quadratic inequalities. So just like when we did inequalities before, it's going to require you to shade one part or the other. So we are going to graph it exactly like we did quadratic equations, but at the end then you're going to have to figure out which part you are going to shade. So it's very similar to what we did before. So if I look here, I have y is less than or equal to x squared minus 3x minus 4. The first thing you have to remember is it going to be a solid or dashed line? Since this inequality symbol has an equal to part, it is going to make it a solid line for our parabola. In order to know if you shade above or below it, this is a less than sign. So less than means you are going to shade below. Okay, and then we're going to graph the parabola just like we did in our previous sections. So we have 2 steps. And let me get this minimized so hopefully I can see it and do all this at once. So the first step is to find your axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a. So I have b is negative 3. So I have negative 3 because b is also a negative. And then times or divided by 2 times a, and a is 1. A double negative makes a positive, so I have 3 divided by 2, which gives you 1.5. So my axis of symmetry is at the line of 1.5. So if I draw that in here, it looks approximately, let me scoot it over just a little bit, right there, as x equals 1.5. Okay, then the next thing we had to do is we had to make our table of values. The first thing you want to find always is your vertex, which will be on the axis of symmetry, so I always use that x value. So I'm going to plug in 1.5 to our original equation. When I plug it in, it gives me a negative 6.25. So I get 1.5, which is on the line of symmetry, negative 6.25, which would be approximately there. Okay, then I'm going to plug in the following points. I'm going to plug in 3. When I plug in 3, it gives me negative 4. So I get 3, negative 4. And then I want to plug in a point that's on the same side of the line of symmetry as this one. So I'm going to plug in 5. If I plug in 5, it gives me 5, 6. And then to get the other side of the parabola, you use the axis of symmetry and you count. So that's 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2, 3 would be right there. 1 and a half, 1. And then we can draw in our parabola. Remember, try to make it look like a U-shaped figure and not a V-shape, because it is a quadratic function and not an absolute value. It was a solid line because it had an equal to part, and then we had to shade it in, and it was less than, so that means we would go below it. So it's shaded in below that parabola, so I should go right along the parabola, and I should go below it. So that means any part that I am shading in is part of the solution set. So then you have it completed. Go ahead and complete the quick check for this section, and then look at your schedule for your assignment.